Yeah. All right. So hello and welcome. Today I'm with an amazing entrepreneur and business person who's been doing the world of a favor in terms of helping people get the book out of them and onto the bookshelf and that sort of thing. So today on the Digital Leadership Breakthrough Show, I'm actually with Eli Gonzalez, and I'm going to be bringing him on screen coming up very, very shortly. And, you know, a lot of us talk about writing a book, and it is a huge task. And I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners out there who have thought about it. And Eli is one of these guys that can actually help you put these steps together. So he specializes in ghostwriting, which is a fascinating look at how do you actually work with somebody to kind of pull those ideas out of your head and into a book as well. And, you know, making sure that you do have a book in you. Eli is the CEO and founder of TG Publishing. He's a best-selling author himself. He's produced around 70 books. Just an absolutely amazing guy, and he'll be joining us very, very shortly. So just before that, welcome to the Digital Leadership Breakthrough Show. My name is Doyle Buehler, and I help leaders, entrepreneurs, and disruptors scale, grow, and transform their business and sales through digital leadership. And I'm the author of my own book on digital strategy. So we got a lot to talk about, the digital delusion. And I'm here to show you what real world digital strategies will actually work for your business. And as I mentioned in today's show, I'm talking with Eli Gonzalez, the big thinker and doer, on how business leaders can augment their business with a business book and how you can prepare for it. Welcome to the program, Eli.
Thank you so much, Doyle. It's a pleasure to be here, man.
Yeah, no, really, really excited because book writing and book stuff is one of my passions. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you, what are you doing now? And how did you get started?
Well, when people ask me that question, how do you become a ghostwriter? The truth of the matter is that there's no school for it, right? Okay. So the answer isn't, I went to school to be a ghostwriter. Up until we just created one, there wasn't one. But for me, I had a social media marketing company, and I had a blogging service that I did. And I learned that you need to write differently for a nightclub than you do a dental practice.
Yeah.
So you need to, I learned very quickly how to write in a different language, a different voice, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that kind of translated into books. I did a favor for a friend. I wrote his book for him pretty much, for free, just to help him out. When he submitted the book that I did for him, when he resubmitted it, he had submitted the manuscript the first time. The company was one of the largest publishing companies in the country. They looked at it, and they found me, and they hired me as their senior ghostwriter right off the strength of that one book.
Oh, wow. Cool.
It was one of these projects that was so much fun. I really got hooked on collaborating with him, and he was so excited with what I wrote for him that I told him, this might take us 3 months. Doyle, it took us 9 days to finish that book.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, just collaboration and stuff. And that launched, my ghostwriting career. And at this company, I was their senior writer. So I got to pick and choose my clients. So I've written books for conservative political leaders that everyone knows, for some of the biggest televangelists that people know all over the world.
Okay. Can you share names, or is that secret?
I can't. The ones I know that I did for them, I can't. Out of the 78 books I've written, I can mention about 35 names.
Okay.
Without written permission, that's unfortunately the gig. I remember the first time, my first bestseller, I was crying to my wife, "Oh, nobody's going to know I wrote that." It was pretty tough to do.
Yeah. So how do you get the recognition then to say, "Hey, I'm an awesome ghostwriter"?
Well, the first few books I did at a very discounted rate, so that I can have what I call book cover credit.
Okay.
So they put my name on the front cover.
Yeah.
So and then I kind of figured it out. So in a lot of books, in about 35 of them, I'm mentioned like at the back of the book in the acknowledgement section. Not as the writer, usually thank you, Eli, for your help or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But then, I've had some great clients that have allowed me and given me permission to use their name and their book and to get credit. But it was pretty tough to start off having done bestsellers without telling the world that you've done bestsellers.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a little bit of one of those thought exercises. Like, well, if you're a ghostwriter, how do you tell people you're a ghostwriter?
Yeah.
It's like, do you advertise? Hey, I'm doing ghostwriting today, kind of thing.
Yeah, and unfortunately for a lot of people is that some people can just say they're ghostwriters and say like I do, I can't mention some clients and kind of weasel their way, and I know this because I've had to fix books that people who supposedly were professional writers did, and
yeah,
but that's the gig.
Yeah, no kidding. So how should walk me through the process of entrepreneurs and business leaders saying, yeah, I want to write a book. Like what are some of the steps they can take or they should take to understand that task that's coming before them?
Yeah, well, I mean, first and foremost, I want to say that if you're an entrepreneur watching this, if you're a business owner, you absolutely should write a book. I mean, there are a million reasons why to write a book, but I'll just give you one.
Yeah.
Let's say you're a realtor, right? Wherever you're at, you're one of, I don't know, 2,000 in your town, whatever that is. When you think about who do you compete with regionally, how many of them have written a book? Because if you think about how many books on real estate there's a ton of them. But who do you compete with that's written a book? Now you go from 1 out of 2,000 to maybe 1 out of 2.
Yeah.
And that's a huge differentiator.
So what is the real value then of writing that book then? Like what does it do for the writer? What does it do for the author as the business leader or the business person?
Yeah, well, sometimes nothing, and that's because the author doesn't know how to leverage the fact that they're the author. They're not an author in that industry.
Okay.
But with the right marketing strategy, I mean, just imagine how would your world be like if everybody that could do business with you considered you the best at what you do, the absolute best. Yeah. And that's what a book does. Subconsciously, we understand that a book takes time, money, and you have to be so confident of your material to publish it out to the world. And that's what actually gives the credibility. People don't have to read your book to hire you. They just need to know that you know your stuff so well and you're so convinced and convicted by it that you went and gave your methodology for free or just threw it out there, all your information to the masses, to the point where you don't have to stand over someone's shoulder to explain why you're saying what you're saying. It's just like, no, my stuff works. I'm putting it in a book because it works. And subconsciously, the market understands that.
Well, that's good. So it builds your authority. It builds sort of that relevance to you and your industry, if that's the way to say it too.
Yeah, I mean, so it's, again, the example of the realtor. So I've written 4 books for realtors. One of them in particular, he had been in business for 28 years, Doyle, right? I mean, killing it. Most people that did real estate during the crash, they had to do something else. Some came back. 28 years. But his problem was he couldn't pass that 500,000 house barrier. We wrote the book for him. We labeled him.
Selling a cost for $500,000 or?
No. The houses that he was selling.
Yeah.
He wanted to sell $1 million homes.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
And he'd been doing real estate for 28 years, and people were coming into the market selling $1 million homes. And he's like, I know so much more than they do. Why am I not selling these $1 million homes?
Yeah.
So we wrote a book for him and we put a strategy behind it. And, to make a long story short, in 6 months, he had already sold $1 million home and he had another one listed. That's what a book can do for you. Because now, if you're a realtor, if you drive by a house for sale and you go on Zillow or whatever and you find out the email address and you go ahead and send an email, one email goes from somebody from Remax, another one from Keller Williams. If you send an email with a link to Amazon with your book, with a blurb on Barnes & Noble of your book, the credibility of that person that doesn't know either of you, I mean, who do you hire? The person that wrote a book, obviously, about doing real estate in your zip code.
Yeah.
And it's simple things like that. Because here's my key phrase. You don't write a business book to make a lot of money selling books, although it can happen. You write a business book to make a ton more money in your business.
No, that's great insight there. So it's not really about the book. It's about what you do with that book, right? That kind of gets it in front of people and your target audience. So on the other flip side of that, should everybody write a book then? Because would we be in the same space where, yeah, you're competing for everything if everybody's writing a book?
Yeah. So I mean, I have a cutoff, or people who I really don't feel are ready to write a book.
Yeah.
And you got to be authentic to whatever it is you do. Now, for me, if somebody just started a business 6 months ago, and even if they had the funds and everything to hire me, I probably wouldn't take it. Because that person really, he or she will be writing on ideas more than practical, time-proven methodologies, right? So Forbes.com and all these reputable organizations state that about 70% of businesses fail in the first 3 years.
70,
so for me,
sorry, 70% of businesses fail in the first 3 years. Is that sort of a U.S. statistic? I love those kind of things that highlight. Okay. Yeah.
I think the actual statistic is 78%, and you'll find that on Forbes.com. So to me, if you're in the U.S. and if you've been in business for more than 3 years, you are more than credible to write a book. You have figured something out that 78% people that tried couldn't. You've got your own methodology, your own way of doing customer service, acquisition, whatever it is, that someone else can learn from. So that's kind of my cutoff. So if you're watching, if you've been in business for more than 3 years, if you're profitable, don't beat yourself up. You have every credibility in the world to write a book.
Mm-hmm. So just to clarify, then that might also be 3 years in the industry. Like, let's say you have 3 real estate business and you've actually been in the industry for 10 years, but the last business has only been 2 years or something. Do you still recommend writing a book? Like you're talking industry expertise.
Yes, absolutely. In the industry, you can be a vegan all your life and just open up your vegan restaurant. But you're yes, absolutely write that book about the vegan lifestyle. You've been doing it all your life.
Okay, excellent. And so, what pitfalls should potential writers look for? Like to say, like, again, not everybody should write a book, so you've got a cutoff of 3 years. But again, is book writing for everybody? I don't know. Is it good for plumbers and doctors and lawyers and tradies and that sort of thing, or is it just certain industries?
Yeah, it is. It is, but I mean, regardless of the industry, I would write a book. Regardless of the industry, I would write a book. Now, a book, we don't take on just any client. What a book is really good for is really establishing yourself as an expert. But when it comes to the point where a person wants to be a speaker, to start doing seminars, if there's a story on that your industry for your local news channel to find you and interview you, if you want to be that person, that is what a book is specifically made for. Most of my clients really want to start expanding their profile. A book done right doesn't open doors for you, Doyle. A book done right is a battering ram. It breaks down walls and brings you into rooms that you never even knew that were there.
Mm-hmm.
And so absolutely, if you're a plumber, electrician, whatever it is, write a book. And then it's going to be interesting to note that the way you do things is the way that the industry is going to do things, or at least the people who you have control over or influence over.
Okay, no, well, that's cool. So, just leading on from that, then, so let's say I've decided that yes, I'm going to write a book. What should I kind of do next? Are there pitfalls that I should avoid, so that I don't, so that I get some quality product? Obviously, having a great team on my side, like somebody like yourself, is helpful. But kind of just the thought process.
Yeah. So the reason why, the statistics are that. I think it's 92% of people that start to write a book never finish it.
How many? Sorry?
92%.
92%. Wow.
You've got all these people all over the world that have started writing the books, and I'm sure you that are watching now, you're probably one of them. And out of those, less than 13% that do finish have the wherewithal, the confidence to actually publish the book. So when you factor in out of how many people who actually started to write a book that actually went all the way through and published it, is less than 1%. So, and what that tells me is that writing a book is difficult. And it is. It's difficult. It's time consuming. It will test your mettle. It will test your patience, and it will challenge you on what you know, what you think you know about your industry. But one of the ways that people fail and why they stop is because it's not high. Really, it's not high enough on the priority list. And that's just it.
But they probably don't know what to do next, too, right? Could I make that assumption?
Absolutely. So the problem that people make when they start to write a book is they start to write the book.
Yeah. They sit down and they go, here, I'm going to start clickety-clackety.
Chapter 1, here we go. Now, what you should do when you start to write a book is, number 1, figure out who it's for. And if you can construct an avatar, one single person, what they need, what their financial income is, what their marital income is, just do that. Number 2, develop an outline. Don't start writing your book. There's no such thing for professional writers. I have 5 writers who work for me, and we live this.
Oh, so you have ghostwriters writing as ghostwriters for you.
Yes. Well, they're their own ghostwriters. They're their own ghostwriters. They just work with me.
I see. Okay.
Any book that I write, but I have a team.
I see. Okay.
It's because, quite honestly, for some genres, some writers are better that work with me than I am. So I give it to them.
Yeah.
But the number 2 is write an outline. Now here's the thing about an outline. You don't just do one topic per chapter. Listen. When we can all get the answer to our question in a 15-second Google search, a lot of people don't have the time to read 5, 6, 7, 10 pages on one topic. So you need a brainstorming session on getting all your topics lined up, your top 10 if you run 10 chapters. And then from each topic, take out 5 subtitles, 5 subtopics. And that's how you develop an outline. Now, if this is a business book, these are all, so you should have about 40 to 60 topics in your book. This is how professionals do it.
40 to 60 topics. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I like to have about 3 to 5 topics in each chapter.
Yeah.
Right. So, so if you're a professional, you should not have writer's block. It doesn't exist. Truck drivers don't have truck driver's block. Right? Writers shouldn't have.
Well, they do when they get in an accident.
Yeah. What happens is when you just start to write without an outline, what happens is you write yourself into a corner and you're stuck. But that's different than having writer's block. Right? So if you have these subtopics, can you see me good?
Actually, I was going to say, yeah, you're looking kind of angelic there, Eli. There we go.
I'm
Eli,
good,
the ghostwriter from beyond.
Have some subtitles.
Yeah.
They should be things you know about, right? Because obviously it's your industry. But then don't try to write it all in one day. It'll burn you out. It's like you go to the gym one time for a long time and you work out really hard. The next day you're sore and you don't want to go back to the gym again. That's kind of the same thing mentally when you write, because it's exhausting. And if you write 3, 4, 5 hours till 2, 3 in the morning, now you're scared to go back into it because you think, man, this is going to consume so much of my mental energy. I don't have time to do that right now.
Yeah.
So just write a chapter a week. A chapter a week. Don't give yourself a tight deadline writing your first book. Most books are done in a year for the first time, right? But give yourself a chapter a week. We typically write a chapter a week for our clients, and that doing that way, Doyle, I'm typically writing like 6 books at a time.
Wow. How do you keep everything sorted?
I have voices in my head that talk to the other voices in my head. I have a team of people that keep me grounded. Even though it's my company, I have a project manager in my company that manages me and my time.
Okay,
so without her, I'd be so lost.
Yeah. No, excellent. So yeah, so a lot of it comes down to writing it, but then again, as you mentioned, some people might write it, but they don't publish it, and then let's say they get to publish, and then it just kind of sits in their garage collecting dust. So from my experience, I mean, marketing is a huge part of this. Is that sort of one of the other pitfalls that I don't know that a lot of other authors kind of get into, and what should we do about it?
Yeah, well, to have a successful outcome from a book, it takes two parts. One, writing a very well written book, and the other one is having a great strategy for it.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with some authors, what they do once they write a book is they try to sell the book.
Okay.
And once you've sold to your family and friends, it's very hard to sell another book after that.
Yeah.
Especially
what if your family and friends don't buy your book? Should you defriend
them? then you have no hope for you. But what you should do if you write a book is you should figure out how to don't work on book sales, right? You can put posts on Twitter, Facebook. Nobody's going to buy it. Trust me, it doesn't work. Which organizations near you should you send your book to? Should know what it is that you do, so that you can go ahead and speak there. So what you do when you become an author of an industry is raise your profile in that industry as an author. Use a book to open doors for you. Once it opens doors for you, the book sales come.
Yeah.
They come in bunches.
Yeah. So use it as a sales tool, right? As a marketing tool, not here, buy my book for $20 and I'll sell, 1,000 of these kind of thing. It's how do you use it as a tool in your toolkit? Oh, we lost you, Eli. Oh.
All right, we're back. Are we back?
Yeah, we're back now. Go ahead. Oh, lost it again. Keep going. Are you there?
Okay. Yep. All right, we're back live.
Okay, excellent.
All right, I didn't hear.
Yeah, so you're saying use it as a tool in your toolkit. It's not the end. It's the end to the means to the end, as they say.
Yeah. But here's the funny thing about books is that you can have the best intentions in the world, but if you send a book yourself to someone, it can't help but look self-serving. Okay. Right? So what we do is we have a book agent, right? So we send books on our client's behalf, right? So find someone to send a book out for you. Have them write a letter, whatever it is. Hey, just found this. So this is kind of what we do, right? So we'll identify 10 to 20 organizations that should have this book, and then we send them an email, send them the book with a letter stating that we're going to call them in 30 days to see what they thought about the book. Now, Doyle, every time we call, nobody's ever read a book that we sent, ever. Right. But we know that.
Sorry, you got cut off. We know.
We know that they're not going to read the book, but when we call back in 30 days, they call us back or they take our call. They're like, geez, this guy sent me a book. Let me at least. And we know that going in. So that's the strategy. The strategy is to send the book just to have a conversation after.
Oh, okay.
So then when we call back, now we know what the end goal is. So if you're doing this yourself, don't just send a book and give them time to read it. They're not going to read it. But when you call back, be prepared for the ask. Oh, thank you so much for sending me the book. I didn't get a chance to read it. No problem. I can sum it up for you in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you sum it up. And the reason why I sent it for you is because you have a seminar coming up, or you do a yearly seminar, and whatever reason why you sent it to that organization, just be prepared for the conversation, because it will allow you to have the conversation.
And so who should you be sending this book to? Bookstores, to clients, to customers, to who should you be sending the book to? Or getting somebody to send the book to?
Yeah, send it to organizations, send it to anyone that does any kind of speaking or seminars within the industry. Send it to those people. Send it to producers of shows, TV and radio shows, podcast shows. They're all looking for viable guests. So start regionally, send it to those people. Start building your profile. Start getting, your media kit. Get all that stuff out there. Let people in your area see you in the newspaper. Let them see you, that you posted on Facebook that you're going to be on this show or that show. And then you're on top, you're what's called on top of mind. Whenever they need that service, they can be like, oh yeah, this guy's all over the place. He's really good.
He's smart. He has a book. Or she's smart. She has a book.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
I can't tell you how many people have told me that I'm a great writer and they've never read any of my stuff.
Yeah, really. Well, same here. People say, "Oh yeah, you're a great writer," but they've never actually read my stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So I got to ask, where does ghostwriter come from? What's the genealogy of that word, or etymology, whatever?
Yeah. Well, the ghostwriter, basically what it means is we get hired to, I say this term, some ghostwriters cringe. We're almost like the midwife.
The midwife. Ooh, the midwife writers.
It's not glamorous, right? But some people, they just have this story to tell, this baby.
Yeah.
And what we do is we bring that baby into the world.
Yeah.
And so we write books for people better than they ever could.
Yeah.
And then the ghost part is then we disappear. And then we get paid to write the book. We don't share with any royalties and any of that stuff. So then the name on the book is solely the client's, and any fame, if their life story gets converted into a movie, whatever, any fame royalties goes to the client.
Okay.
And we disappear, and we can't even say that we even.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And what if they call your baby ugly though?
There's no ugly babies.
Okay. All right. So what, sort of just to close off, Eli, what would sort of be your number one strategy for people who are thinking about writing a book? I mean, you talked about, laying it out and that sort of thing, but what's that number one thing that you feel would be the most important to give yourself a kick and get going?
Yeah. For one, write a chapter a week. That's manageable. You can work that. You see, you have to be able to make it fit into your daily life.
Yeah.
If you force it, it's not going to work. So do it manageably. And really, if there is a writer's critique group near you, go to it. Right?
I didn't know there would be such a thing. A writer's critique group. Okay.
They're all over the place here in the States. So basically, what it is you go there to this group. They're free, and you read a chapter. So let's say there's 12 people there. Yeah. Everyone gets to read a chapter of their book. So if I read a chapter of my book, then all these other 11 people will be able to critique it. I like this. I don't like this. And what you get is, and then, you get all the printed sheets back. And when you go back home, you see all the advice that you can incorporate. So now you have advice of 11 other people. And if they're in a writer's group, there's some authors in there. There's probably some editors in there. And that's a great way to get great advice for free. So find a writer's critique group and read your stuff. And you become so much better faster, because the next time you sit down to write, you remember the edits, you remember the mistakes you made.
Yeah, yeah.
But also 11 other people have read and you've critiqued them. So it really puts your mindset into that of a writer. And by the time you're in chapter 5, you're hitting your stride as a writer. And a writer's critique group is the absolute best thing a first-time writer needs.
Okay. No,
if there's not one in your area, start one. Start one. Meetup.com, whatever it is, start a writer's group. Everyone, I've written 78 books, Doyle.
Yeah. 78. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every other week, I go to a writer's group.
Oh, okay.
You know, you're always a student. You're always learning.
That's excellent.
And so yeah, absolutely. My number one thing would be find a group if you can get to one. If there's not one there, start one. You'll be surprised how many other people will go to it because they want to write a book and they want to get feedback from other than, you know, their spouse or their brother or their best friend.
Okay. And just to sort of look back as well, like you felt that, you know, finding your why was quite important as well. Like, why should you write the book as well? Yeah. Like what kind of value do you put into it? How do you kind of determine that?
Well, I'm big on finding your why. You know, I equate your why to you know, the water you're going to need to cross the desert, because it's going to be a challenge. And if you don't have a strong enough why, if you don't have enough water, right, you're not going to make it. You know, so definitely find your why, and it's got to be authentic to you. If you want to make $1 million as an author, don't write your why that you just want to help people. That's not your why. You know, make it authentic to you. Write it down somewhere. It's kind of like one of these goal-setting things, you know. And if it's not authentic to your inner self, even though it could sound to anyone else extremely egotistical, if it's not authentic to you, it's not going to drive you. And you're the one that needs to be motivated by it. You don't need to share it. You just need to own it. So whatever your why is, write it out. And you know, when you have those tough times, you know, if your why is strong enough, you're not going to binge on Netflix on Saturday morning. You're going to work on your book.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Just imagine what you could do if you didn't Netflix and binge, as the saying goes. Cool. So really thankful for you, Eli, to kind of share your insights and your ideas and that sort of thing. You're based out of where?
Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Yeah, an amazing place and cool city. And how can we get in touch with you? Like, where can we find you?
My email is Eli, E-L-I, at theghostpublishing.com. And I have a school for those people who would love to make a living as a writer. As I said to you earlier, there are a ton of people that you know, have degrees on writing, but they're not working as a writer. If you want to work as a writer, we have an online course that certifies you and gets you started. But Eli at theghostpublishing.com is the best way to get in touch with me.
Okay, perfect. And I'll also have the links in the Facebook notes and LinkedIn articles as well, so that they'll be able to find you in the digital space as well. So once again, Eli, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. It's been wonderful, and as you know, it's a topic that's close to my heart as well. And I would love to talk for a lot longer as well, but for this time, thank you so much, and maybe we'll have you back on at some other time as well, and we'll kind of go from there. So
it'd be my pleasure. And Doyle, you got a few more books in you. Keep writing, buddy.
Yeah,
keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. So thanks everybody for watching. As I mentioned, I'll have the notes in the Facebook Live post coming out after the video as well. So as I talk about, there are 3 core categories that I go into as part of these Digital Leadership Facebook Live events to give you the strategies that you need to succeed. The State of Digital, where I talk about specific ideas and insights. Digital Leadership Guests, where I had the opportunity to speak with Eli today and get some great insights on writing your book. And then I also have Digital Discovery, where I talk about challenges, strategy, marketing, Q&A, and that sort of thing. So thanks again for watching. Please like and leave a question or comment or an emoji as well. My name is Doyle Buehler, and I'll see you online. Thank you.